Well, the Supercharged 406 rebuild is complete. Thing fired up in the stand, sounds pretty good. And now it's time to marry it to the 1960 Chevrolet El Camino back here. I affectionately call the El Camino. While installing the engine is pretty straightforward, I do want to address, fix, and modify a few things. We gotta do something with the torque converter. We can't use the stock one. Fan wiring, we gotta put some different gauges in here. Exhaust, we got a broken spring, gotta look at the fuel system. I think the rear tires are rubbing. We're probably gonna need headlights. It's a fairly long list. I've got about 2.5 days to throw at this thing. I'd like to get it running, driving, stopping for a little bit of a shakedown by way of a 400-mile road trip to a car show in Virginia. Sounds fine. No, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough time. Well, let's dig in. Derek, you're always in such a hurry. Well, yep, that's what happens when you work 7 days a week. Just got back from Iola. I've only got a couple days to throw at this thing, try to debut this at a car show. And we're starting late in the day. It is 105 degrees today, so I decided to postpone until early evening, so it's only about 110 in the pole shed here. I'm not going to bore you with all this. I basically need to strip this back down to pretty much the block and the chiller. A couple reasons. One, it's easier to manage swinging into the car, and two, weight. Although this big blower is aluminum, man, it's got some heft on it, and I'm concerned that we're just going to pull the bolts right out of the aluminum heads, and that would be a whole nother nightmare. Going to try to use a sling though, so we can keep the chiller and everything else on it and not have to go back to a stock intake, to use a carb pull plate, which y'all are familiar with. Looks about like that. So let me strip this down really quick, and then we'll talk torque converters, try to swing this in. Well, we got her just a swangin', as John Anderson would say. Got her out of the engine stand here. Got it stripped down to where I think this is going to be just fine. It's light enough, should be okay, but we kept the charger where they're on, starter, stuff like that. Try to save a little bit of time. I did throw on some new engine mounts. If you remember, the other ones were basically non-existent. These are just cheapy power torques from O'Reilly Auto Parts, and they should work just fine. Definitely better than those rotted, falling apart ones. Kept the chiller on, had to move the two long studs over here. That's for the throttle bracketry. And snug this down a little bit. We've got a little bit of an oil leak going on here, and you can see it puddling in there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to remedy that or not, but I put some Torqueuses in there. Speaking of torque, we need to talk about torque converters. And I made a mistake here, but it's actually for our benefit. So if a guy is remembering what I thought I remembered correctly, and or I'm forgetting what I remembered wrong, I said that there was a power glide in here. So I actually spent an abundance of time finding a torque converter for a power glide, because they have a different spline count than a turbo 350 or 400. It's a 17. I found one. Actually, it was only $86 with a $100 core, which blows my mind for a 2000 stall converter at a local shop here. And then I get back only to find out that this is actually a turbo 350. And I know what you're thinking, how in the world do you make that mistake? They're very different and obvious. Well, I was in such a hurry to tear this thing apart. I just glanced through the window, saw drive low, boom, power glide. Also, I've driven this truck. I'm the one that revived it and got it running. Anyway, that's embarrassing. The good news is it's a turbo 350 and we have a torque converter for that. The old one out of Liberty Chevelle that was already hooked to this 406 small block. So I know the bolt pattern on the torque converter is going to match the flex plate, and I know it's a higher stall. And the reason we want a higher stall is 1, for the performance camshaft, and 2, with a little bit of blower surge. We don't want to be on the torque converter all the time when we're stopped. And what I mean by that is if you pull up to a red light and you're in drive and the motor is lunging, you know, it's going from 900 to 1800 RPM, for example, a stock torque converter is probably around 1200, so it's constantly going to be wanting to move the truck forward, and it's super annoying. And it creates an abundance of heat that's not necessary and a bunch of other stuff. This little guy here is a loose converter. We already know that from running it in the Chevelle, and it's going to be much better for this application. So we're going to go ahead and slide that into this transmission. Hopefully it just clicks right into place. We want it to drop in twice, click, spin, 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 click again. It's fully engaged in the pump. Then we can work on slinging this engine in. Oof. This might actually be a little too loose of a converter. Well, it worked before, it'll work again. I just didn't enjoy it entirely when it was in the Chevelle. A lot riding on this just clicking into place. Okay, the seal does have some moisture on it. This has been nice and clean, had a cap on it, and it's got fluid in it. So we'll slide it over the shaft. There's one. With these horizontal, it can be a little tricky. There, boom, 2. That's it. Nothing's binding. Everything is happy. Now, I need to get my jack back under here, get this transmission up to the firewall. I was crawling under there cleaning up my mess from everything that I've dumped on the ground. What is all that? Bunch of haggard wiring here. We might have to figure out what's going on with that really quick. Oh, okay. Purple and white. I believe that's our MSD box. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I am going to cut this exhaust manifold out of here. We need to try to get some more wind moving through this thing. Engines are just air pumps, right? So if we're adding more air in, we got to try to get a little bit more air out. This side's already gone. It basically fell out of here. So I'm going to cut the hanger on this side and maybe slice it down here, and this one should come out as well. All right, we'll see if this blade from 1792 wants to do anything. Wow, do I gotta get in here again? Feel like I'm in aerobics class. Aerobics class? Yogas. Almost right through the brake line. Perfect. Oh, there's my good bungee cord. Oh, wow, those are heavy. Shaving some weight. No, we're adding a bunch, most definitely. Okay. One of these days when I grow up, I'll have a step stool. And we'll basically just lift the go forward, go backwards shift machine until it hits the firewall and starts bending stuff. Right there, started lifting the car. That'll give us maximum mobility for adjustability. And we want it higher so we can get the engine up over the engine mounts, and then we'll kind of drop and hopefully bring it in like that. Yeah, I'm rolling around on the ground and I do have a lift, but you know what? A lot of you people don't either. And this is just what you got to do sometimes. Well, it's about time to start the dance. A little bit of up, down, back, forth, up, down, back, forth, up, twist, clockwise, back, down, up. Like a lot of you at home, it's just me here, heads. So we got to take our time, go slow. We can't rush ourselves. Make sure we get all of our hands in the pinch points, things like that. So let's go ahead and just start easing her in. When we come down, we go back. So I'm trying to fit this pulley in here. Be nice to not have to take that off. If you're wondering why none of that's keyed, well, you know, we're making 17 horsepower, so let's not get carried away with a bunch of expenses and things we don't need to do. Okay. I got a wire back here. I think used to be the oil pressure dummy light. Don't want that to get in the way. Bring her down a little bit more. Now, we can start eyeballing our landing. How we looking? Pretty good, okay. What do I need? Down. Well, I know that, but how much? A lot of down. Okay, well, I'll give you a lot then. Wow. And we need, yeah, we're gonna need some backage. So let's go uppage to tickle a backage. Right about there. Let's just ease that down. Okay, we're over the front of the shoe here. Now, can we do some twistage? See what's gonna happen here, Derek, is your starter's gonna get in the way. Well, I know that. But maybe we could slip it in like that. Didn't quite slip. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to drop that starter. Trying to be lazy bit us. Right in the behind. Where'd my electric wrist go? Come here. Where'd you go? Here it is. Nothing's got batteries. Let me drop the starter and then we'll continue the dance. The nose of it is hitting the transmission. Well, she just about slipped right into place when I dropped that starter out. So we're close. Valve cover holder downers are holding us backers. Okay. What else? Can't tell if I gotta go a little up or a little down. I'm gonna try to pry it back. That's not working. Try to go down. Oh. Could have missed that pain, but then I would have missed the dance. Okay. Well, she's wiggling around for a guy, but I need to get it over. There we go. Oh, that was close. Yeah, that side's looking good. Oh, that valve cover holder downer. Same story. I might have to take those off. They look really cool, but they're not helping a guy. Ooh. about flipped the truck upside down. See, the problem here is that strap, although helping, is also at the same time hindering. This might take a while. Just gotta be patient. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm gonna keep dancing. Flex plate is in. Distributor is not hitting. It's a delicate dance of going up and down. I'm gonna try to get a jack under the oil pan if I can. Lift the rear, drop the front. Well, a little update from the underside here. We've got 2 bolts in on each side of the transmission, so the dowel pins are lined up. Everything looks good there. The pull forward on the torque converter is going to be absolutely perfect, so that's great news. I'm fighting this motor mount over here. I got the other side in. Just got to put a washer and nut on it. This side here, you can see the block where it got scuffed up. Over there, I had to pry the new motor mount, because you know it's squishy, into place and then down with my hand to get the bolt started, and I loosened the bolts here on the block. Now I'm going to try to run that in with the impact to at least get it started. The other side has a screwdriver holding it in place. It should get kicked out, hopefully. No, so I got to crawl out again. Maybe I can reach it. No. We gotta line the front up. Get the screwdriver out. Come on. Kind of a, you can see how squishy it is. Kind of a pain with new mounts, but it's worth it once you get them in. It's just a process. I'm gonna keep working on this and then we can finish bolting up the bell housing. Yeah, she's out of a ligament. Well, little shimmy, shaking, prying, do-dabbing. Got her in, both sides are bolted up. Now I just got the top bell housing bolts and this thing's bolted in. But first, I'm actually gonna get cleaned up, go grab a bite to eat. It's about 7:30 in the evening, I think, somewhere around there. And then we'll be back and we're gonna start farting around with bolting up the torque converter, bell housing bolts, fuel pump. There's a bunch. We're just gonna knock it off piece by piece and slowly get this thing put back together. It's looking good so far. Well, the guy is back. We've got some perishable food down. Now we'll see how late we're gonna go. I think I want to at least get the bell housing finished up, get these straps off, probably the torque converter and the headers, because then we can get this thing back down on the ground where it's not an awkward height. Plus, I've called my friend Chad, not Chad or the other Chad, but Muffler Chad. And I said, hey, I'm changing up the exhaust, completely apparently blacked out, but I'm gonna need help bending this up. This is one of those X-frames. So he's gonna come down tomorrow and lend a hand helping me bend some exhaust on this so we have a full system. And I'll have him help me put the hood on. So I wanna try to get as much done before that as possible. Get these straps out of the way. No longer need this stuff in a road. Let's see. try to fit these in here. I'm using grade 8s that already have the washer built onto them. They're like a flange, and it's just a lot easier. Maybe-ish, I think. Itch. Ratcheting. Wrench. There we go. Before we get too much stuff on here, I got to get the oil pressure sending unit line on because it's hidden back in here. We start adding all that other ignition stuff or the blower. It's going to be really hard to get to. I should make a note. Oil pressure line. Perfect. I definitely won't see that. I have no idea if the brakes work on this. Nothing. That's been changed at some point. Torqued. Ah! Lost my wrench. Oh, there it is. Boy, with these meat mitts, this is not an ideal job. Should have called for Jessica. If we could turn back time, we would build a big block. All right. Well, the engine's officially in. Next step I want to do is the torque converter bolts. These are fine thread. They're 3/8 24 typically. Going to use a little bit of orange or red Loctite. Crawl under and get that done. Nothing exciting. Put one in, rotate the engine over till you access the next one. I like to put all three in loosey-goosey and then torque them. That way you have a little bit of play if you need to. It's important to also measure how far you're pulling that torque converter out towards the flex plate. There are minimums and maximums there, so please pay attention to that. I'm going to drop these in. Then I think tonight yet, I still want to do headers. And then I think we can get the car down on the ground. And tomorrow morning early, or maybe even late tonight, I should get it over on the lift so my buddy can do his exhaust thing without trying to roll under the car here. Actually have some room. And it'll be nice over there for me as well. We got to check out the rear end. I think the tires are hitting the tubs. We got springs to do. There's a lot. Let me pop these in fast. Okay, torque converters put to bed. Loctited, ready to go. I'm gonna move on to headers here. I wished I could have got the nice shiny ones. These are just natural with the black coat on them. But two things, the shiny ones, expensive. Also, these were the only ones that I could find with the D-shaped exhaust port, which these heads are, so they perfectly match. They just don't make a lot of headers for El Caminos. I searched and looked and searched. These are Sanderson. I've used these on Charlotte, the burnout truck, independent Chevelle. We're gonna put them on the 35 Ford rat rod truck when we get done with that. They don't require a gasket. These are machined pretty darn good, and I've had really good luck with them. So instead of hearing that annoying blown out exhaust leak all the time, this gives us a fighting chance. I'm gonna put a little bit of ultra copper on here. This is commonly used for gasket repairs. I'm just gonna give her a little skim coat. We'll throw some hardware in this. I have that starter to put in, but I'm thinking I'll wait till that's up on the lift. I've got to identify, I think I did before, but I can't remember which one is the actual ignition relay. It's normally purple, you know, BOPC stuff, but I'm not seeing that dangulating there. So I think it's been hacked into or changed. We'll have to figure that out. There's also a couple accessory wires. I've never seen that before, but I think it's running the ignition box instead of going right to a standard 12-volt source. So a little bit of wiring shouldn't be too terribly bad. If we get super greedy, we're going to see if we can get headlights on this. because if we do make it to the show that Saturday night, I would like to peel out of there, get on the road and get some miles down, instead of just spending more money on another motel room, sitting around twiddling our thumbs. All right, passenger side first because it's the easiest. Okay. Hopefully none of these sparkulators got damaged. We was roughhousing over here. I ain't kidding you. Little cracks in porcelain can be hard to detect. Gonna try to run all these bolts in first before we send her home. That way our gasket maker stands a fighting chance. I think these said they're for a truck, but they're shorties. This one's got a slight angle. They're pretty detailed in their builds, so it showed the angles of the collectors, and I was able to determine that this one should be fine, and the driver's side should angle back more than just down. Oh, there's always that one stubborn little devil. And there's always one or two on each side that you have to start first and tightening them first, otherwise you can never get your wrench back in there again. You know what I'm talking about. You've been there. Drinker side is all finished up here. Fit great. They typically always do on the drinker side, but the captain side is always the tricky one. I'm gonna get a big metal zip tie, kind of clamp the transmission cooler lines back with the fuel line and brake line over here, just kind of bundle it out of the way so there's room for the collector and exhaust swoop down there. Over here we've got captain side dipstick, and of course steering, brake line right here, which will tuck in there. This could get a little tight. I might have to drop the sparkulators out of there so I can go down and then back up, but we'll see. We'll give it a shot first like that. With any luck here, let's see, over the tube. Gonna make a mess with this RTV, aren't I? Oh, hey. No. Oh, yeah. There we go. Nice. That wasn't so bad. Same thing. I'm going to start all the bolts and then snug them down kind of all at the same time, just working back and forth all around. On the inside of the tubes, those are the ones that'll get you. If you tighten all the other ones first, then the head of those bolts will be hitting the primary tubes, and then you're stuck. Do I got temp sensors? Yeah, I got one in the back I pre-installed. I think my fan relay is up there. Just double checking because I got a port in the head here and I don't want to bury it if we need it. Okay, off and running. Let me get this tightened up. Looks like it's going to clear the lower control arm and steering arm. So, 70s C10 truck Sanderson shorty headers do work for his early El Camino. Now you know. Yes, they make long tubes, but they're gigantic fender exit. And not that I'm opposed to fender exit, I just don't think it's this particular vehicle's jam. I think we gotta have pipes either coming out the side or front of the rear tire, you know. I don't know, something a little more traditional. Here's the captain side from below. I had to get under here to get that last bolt, but we got a nice sweep and nice angle there. So that looks pretty darn good. Well, even for starting really late, today's been a really good day. checking in with the list here, we got two of the bigger items done. Remove the 283, install the 400, which we rebuilt. Let's see, lug nuts, no, swap fronts, wire fans, rad overflow, battery hold down, gas door, spring, replace crank hub, that's done. I think I'm gonna call it. It's really late. I gotta get here early. There's a few things that I wanna get taken care of before my buddy gets here, like maybe get the fuel pump in. Garbage, where are you at? Oops. We got to start planning ignition. We got to put that oil pressure line in. Just a lot of little stuff around here that we have access to now that I want to get done before we put that big blower back on. This is going to be okay, open air. There's that radiator in there. Nothing's going to fall in. I am going to zip tie that quick, hit the lights. We'll see you guys in the morning. Well, good morning. We're right back on the El Camino here. Like I said last night, there's a few things I want to finish up before Chad gets here. And the biggest reason is we've got to move the truck from here over to the lift so he can get underneath of it to help me do an exhaust system on this thing. So I want to try to get topside stuff done first so it doesn't hold us up. But in true Vice Grip Garage fashion, this is a can of worms. My forklift is down. That needs work to even try to move this thing around. So I'm going to jump in, and where we're going to start this morning, I'm going to run my oil pressure line. I like to use the copper tubing kit instead of the plastic kit that comes with the gauges. That plastic gets brittle with time and age, or it gets kinked, or it melts. Any of those scenarios, oil everywhere. I mean, worst case scenario, you can ruin a good pair of boots if it leaks on the inside. Otherwise, your rig burns down. Also, I'm going to run a wire over to the temperature sending unit. That's got to come through the firewall too. That goes back here. I also need to hook up the line for the boost gauge that's already in there. So all the stuff on the back here, kind of get that done and knocked off. And then we might throw the fuel pump in quick. Then we got to get my forklift to run. That'll be fun. Shouldn't be too bad. It's just got 47,000 hours. So basically for now, I'm just going to run probably a blue wire through for that. The fitting is already in there. We did that when we rebuilt the engine. Pop that in. I'll probably run another wire through the firewall right there. In fact, I think this cable can go away. So we're going to gain some room through the speedometer cable grommet. And that'll run up to the charging whirler so we can have a voltmeter in there as well. And I think that's pretty much it for wiring. Everything else we can kind of do from here. We're going to replace this garbly gook with a different fan relay kit. That's primarily going to go to the battery over there. We will need a keyed switched wire though. Maybe I'll run that as well. I'll just run a couple colors through so we have them. So let's knock this out quick and then we can get the truck moved. Well, we've got a little harness made here, a couple extra wires. We've got one. This is a high temp one. That'll be for the voltmeter, amp meter. Started back pulling some wire, trying to figure out what in the world. You got red and black going to purple and whites. Spliced into the original harness. I already pulled another one out here. I'm gonna try to start deciphering some of this stuff. I don't know if Lucky or Alex wired it. Doesn't matter, it worked. But I just have to figure out what they were doing here. This one splits off to this. I think I'm just gonna run a new starter relay wire down. Found the purple one. This is gonna be keyed. And then we can tear out both these other little harness things and pretty much just start over on 12 volt switched. One of them's got to be running over to the MSD 6A Ultra. There's one that goes straight to the battery, positive and negative, but then it does need a 12 volt key on or what have you. And that's probably this one right here. I just got to trace that. So let me drop one down, and that also means we can get the starter in when we get this moved over. Let's start thinning some of this. Don't need that one. Don't need this one. Although we got to decipher the other one. What color goes to what color. They wire just like I do. Doesn't matter what color it is as long as you know where it's going, for Pete's sake. It's just the next guy that's scratching their head. Oil pressure sending unit line is in. Also our line for the temp sender is in. Everything's landed in there. So we're looking pretty good there. Gonna run a purple if I can find one. Down to the starter. Where'd all my wire go? Oh, for heaven's sakes. Can't have nothing nice. You know, before I get completely sidebarred in a wiring scuffle, let's get that forklift fired up and have that ready so when he gets here we can move it. I don't want him standing around. He's doing me a big favor by coming down. So let's go pull a sparkulator out. I'm hoping it's just ignition. It runs, but it's firing terrible and I'm way down on power. Little 4-banger in here. Runs on propane. I haven't had to do much to this thing at all, but we'll pull out a sparkulator and hopefully see if that's the case. But I just put some in, I don't know, 2 years ago. Yep, I sure did. Porcelain's all pitted. The old Denzos! We'll run these in with us. Grab some parts, some sparkulators, and we'll head back. Oh, another hot day. Guy's back. Got some fluids, transmission filter and gasket. I think we'll do that while it's in the air. And had to stop and pick up some chew as well. Any day with chew is a good chew. Probably ground ball grapes, my favorite, followed by slam and strawberry. But out of here original Big League Chew is a good standby. Very good standby. Anyway, I got some AC Delcos. Let's pop them in this forklift. See if that helps. All right, those are snagged in. Let's see what it does. Oh yeah, way better. Yep, that was it. While Chad is here, we have successfully moved the El Camino from there to here, and let's just say it's better off you don't know how that happened. Just know we're excited it's finally on here. We've got another big issue. Chad's eyeballing exhaust routing, which is typically a pain in the butt on El Caminos and Bel Airs, early 60s because of the frame. It's an X frame, same as Buick's. This one's been back halved, which adds to that, but we have significant rubbing, which you can see right here when we went to move this on the inside of this tub. It is absolutely touching. There's no way this truck's going anywhere like that. Now, normally we could adjust this bar over, spin this bar, which would push the rear end over, because we could see based on the tabs, it's not centered. This side is over quite a bit. We've got about an inch room there and touching over here, but it was welded. So the only option we would have is to try to get this bolt out, try to shimmy the truck and get that bolt back in. That might get us a little bit. So in a hurry here quickly, I'm gonna get some wheel spacers and try to space this out a little bit. But if this is rubbing going down the highway the whole time and we blow this tire, obviously that we're done, because no one carries something like that. So that is an issue we're going to have to address. Chad's going to work on exhaust. We get a nice shot of how solid the floors are, or basically non-existent. They were patched at some point. I've got to deal with the shift linkage here. Get that taken care of. I'm going to drop the pan. It's leaking all over the place. I think I'm also going to replace the dipstick seal, which means I need to take that bolt out up there and then let Chad do his thing, and I'll have to start working on the rear end. We are running out of time quickly. Okay, we had to take the bar all the way out, count turns, kind of go back and forth. We have less room over here, and we can just barely see some daylight in there now, at least. So when we put spacers on, we should get a 1/4 inch on both sides. Hopefully that works. Now I got to go back through and double check everything, because I just realized everything back here is finger tight or loose. So I think they must have been up against the deadline. This truck was at SEMA. They probably threw this in here and drove it on the trailer, would be my guess. Been there, done it, know what it's like. No big deal. I'm sure they got it adjusted pretty close. The pinion angle doesn't look bad. So I will get some Loctite and a big wrench and get to work on tightening this up. Chad was planning on doing something cool. You know, typically you follow the tub here, come back and then come out, but the back half is in the way. So we might go full race car and just drop something out right here that's obnoxious and whips carbon monoxide right into the cab. That would be pretty good. I'm going to fix the shifter, and then I'll try to work on this if I can stay out of his way. If not, I've got plenty to do under here. All right, exhaust is done. Boy, is this gonna be loud. We opened her up to 3-inch so it could really breathe. Both sides are the same, obviously, but this side looks a little different because this coil spring is broken, so it's kind of sag-a-late. It's down there. Gonna have to wear the earplugs in this rig. Speaking of earplugs, we got spacers. So before I kick Chad loose, we're gonna try to figure out how to get these tires either all the way off or slid out enough off the lugs or studs where we can slip that in. I think I'm gonna lift it up and we'll put a jack pole underneath the truck, try to get the actual hydraulic jack, which is now stuck, because the tires are so wide the arms won't clear it. Get that slid forward. I need that for the front anyway, because I got to disassemble the whole front end on it still. Oh, by the way, this hasn't changed at all. And what is it, 6:30 at night? Oh boy, it's gonna be late. Okay, here's the plan, don't have one. Chad came up with this idea, so if it fails, it was his fault. So if we lower the lift and we have the pull jacks on the back half frame, we should see separation here. Two things. I'm going to slide the air jack forward, and then we're going to see if we can wrestle these tires off. They only have 3 lug nuts holding them on, and I think those are probably finger tight. My fear is we can't waller them out, but if we can slide them over far enough to get the spacer behind, we're good. Seems to be, oh wow, this one's already off.
Well, one is.
Keep going, I guess.
Yeah.
I need a 1/4 inch. Okay, let me get under here now that it's really sketchy. Okay, that's a win.
Well, do you want to try to use the air jack now that we got it in front of the tires?
Yeah, I guess that would make sense, huh? There. Now, we're going to use the air jack. Let's see what we're going to attempt to do back here. Got to wait for the compressor to make some air. Mostly water. Non-potable. Oh, speaking of which, the guy finally went ahead and splurged and got himself an air compressor. It'll be here, I think next week, but I won't be home, so you guys will see it soon. After, has it been 7 years? 6 or 7 years running this compressor. We're upgraded. About time. This thing is on its last leg. Okay. I've never played with this big of a tire. This could get interesting. I should put gloves on so I don't lose a finger. The other concern we have is enough thread showing once the spacers are in. Oh, not so bad? Well.
Luckily, the quarter panel's in great shape.
Yeah, it's all fiberglass and Bondo. There you go. I should be able to slip it in there.
I got another inch.
Well, we're back down. All the lugs are in. 2 are open face. 3 is bulge, what they came with. I don't like the thread engagement. I'm not even going to get close enough to show you, but we blew Loctite in it, so everything's fine. I'm going to take a wrench with me. If this runs, it goes down the road. Simple, we just check that every 12 miles. No big deal. Now, the next big project, probably the biggest project, the engine reassembly I'm not worried about. This is kind of a pain in the butt because tire, wheel bearings, the dinner plate brake setup, all of that has to come off. The hub, got to separate the upper and lower control arm, got to get the Aldan adjustable coil out because the coil spring is wrapped around it, put the new one in, reassemble everything. But it's good to spot check. We got to see if the bearings were packed or anything. I really don't know. You know, they might have set this up to not even really go down the road. It's just to roll into a room. So let's double check that. Did check the rear end. It is full of oil. So I think we're good there. And it seems to have enough clearance now between the inner fender well, which is really the frame, to the back half. We can't go in anymore whatsoever. We can go out, but it really needs correct wheel studs. They need to be about 2.5 inches longer. So let's get to work up here. Okay, we drew straws. Chad's going to do transmission service. This thing is leaking. Look, just sitting here basically empty. It's already dropping oil. We know we're gonna have a leak on the distributor already, engine oil wise, and that's enough. Let's try to keep the juice in the shift machine. So he's gonna drop the pan, put a new filter in, new pan gasket, and then pull the dipstick tube out and put a new seal in that, which I should have done when I put the transmission in, but I was too lazy to go get parts at that juncture. Okay, so I'm gonna come up here and this feels good. We'll whack this off. We got to separate the control arms, get the suspension figured out. And then theoretically, it should brake and stop. It should shift, rear end's good, suspension's good, tires don't rub. So you call it like the chassis itself is fine. And then we can focus on this into the early morning hours.
The dipstick will come right out, he said.
Yeah.
No, it won't.
Well, the guy thought he got the short end digging on this thing. And then we discovered he can't get the pan down with the cross member in. So now he's got to take the whole cross member out of the way just to get to the rear pan bolts. And we're doing some more sketchy pull jack stuff. Maybe the doors will finally shut. When we had the back lifted by the air jack on the back half, the doors are about an inch from closing. That's pretty good. This is currently seized on here. That's good. Here's the problem we're after. This busted in transport somehow, and I've never seen anything like this. Just a fluke freak thing, I guess. But these guys were awesome, and when I called them and told them what happened, they just sent one right out. So we got to take the nut off the stem up here, and then we can drop this down here, get that spring in there, reverse that. Everything's fine. It's fine. Okay, so this thing was stuck on here. I actually had to use pry bars and a hammer to get this off. And what's happened is this has lost a wheel bearing in the past, and there's a ridge in here. So when the new wheel bearing and setup was pressed on by way of the nut and didn't want to come off and release. So I'm going to take some strips, basically emery strips or whatever you can find, and work this spindle around so it's smooth. This bearing should slide on with very little resistance, but pull right back off. I had to pry it off, it was stuck. Chad's got the pan off and didn't spill a drop, and it looks okay-ish. There's about 84% of the clutches in the pan, but there wasn't any chicken bones or half-inch nuts or anything like that. Oh, there's a lot of glitter in that filter.
Yeah. Won't you stop? Won't you hush your mouth and stop jinxing yourself?
Yeah, that's okay. Well, filter did its job because it is absolutely full of shrapnel. We'll pretend we didn't see that and continue on with the maintenance. That looks transmission-y up in there. So that's good. Anyway, I'm going to clean this up, and then I think we'll take the top off, because then I could just relax all of this and fold it back up into place, and I can have a jack under here. Instead of trying to get this under this nut, I could just take this one off, hammer down, hopefully separate this, and then to that. Okay, I got the upper ball joint separated. I got the stem to the coilover off on the top. Now I got to take the nuts off on the bottom here. Chad's putting a brand new oil, or what do you call those? Transmission pan in. You know, a little bit of. So that's now chrome and looks pretty good. There was some pretty big chunks that looked sun-shellish, but we'll pretend we didn't see those. It's like Talladega Nights. I just need to get high gear so we can put the most sketchy vehicle I own, or one of the most, on the interstate. Okay, now take this off. Man, you ever seen this, Chad?
I've never seen nothing like that in my life.
It just like, Oh, there's a piece missing. And look, there is rub marks. There's a whole chunk.
It's crazy. It's like a really brittle piece of metal or something that's just shattered. But also these springs are rubbing the inside of this frame too on both sides. But I don't think that's what's caused that.
Yeah, that's wild. Well, we are going to put another one in. Hopefully the same part number. I'll just put that down there for now. Okay, so we got our new curlicue. Let's try to get this to, nope. Can you hit me with some air? Get the front end up a little bit. We got to dangulate the lower control arm just a little bit more. And then I should be able to twist this into position. There we go. And then before Chad heads home, I got to have him help me put the hood on, which is gonna suck for us because everything's gonna be in the way. Starting right after the hood goes on.
If you can get that up in the hole and you got the hardware, I can start it. I think. Where's the rubber at? Oh, it's up there.
It's sitting up there. I'll hold it up if I can. There-ish.
Let it down just a little bit. Oh. Push it more.
That's all I got.
Well, we ain't getting this on there till you get weight on the bottom.
All right, I turned this way down.
Let it down some. A little more down. More downer. Now up. Oh, that'll work. Oh, that'll do the thing, I think. It's snug in here. Real.
Yeah, it's got that wishbone or collarbone thing.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you know? Is that Michael Bolton?
She's a man eater. Is that what you're singing?
Yeah, but I've been singing She's a Bass Fisherman all night. Here, I might be able to.
Oh, you got more to go on there than I do.
Yeah, you hold that.
All right.
Come upper.
I gotta push on the bottom. Let's just start all over again. Why don't we try that?
I think I'm in that. Is there juice leaking out of your hand or is that spit? No, are you stuff leaking out of there?
The shock's leaking right out of the selector valve. It's pouring.
Not really sure why or what happened, but the oil is dumping out of the selector valve, which we haven't touched. When this shock broke, I bet this thing bottomed out all the way and blew.
Oh, it's good.
Everything.
Yeah.
All right, pull it down. That's why I was wondering, because when they sent the spring, they sent a whole unit. And I was going to be nice and just use the spring and send the unit back, but them being professionals knew that if the spring broke and this bottomed out, it blew everything. So I got a new unit, we'll put that in. Now she'll go in there. Loosen. There we go. Pop. Crackle. So we got the collars loose. Well, they already were loose. We decided to keep this one loose as well because we can come in here with this wrench and adjust ride height once we get all this put back together. We may raise the front up a little bit so we're not digging for coal with the oil pan, but that's yet to be determined. But new coil spring is in, new bouncy adjustable thing is in, so now I just got to put all this back together. And I already cleaned this up, so this ridge is gone. Oh, it's gonna spin, you dog. Well, I've spent a minimum 42 minutes trying to get this cap on. So now Chad's over there whittling on it with the Jack Hawk 9000. I guess the threads are a little messed up. I'm putting the spacers into the Wildwoods, where I think maybe they could go, ish. Well, they kind of just fell out. You know, we're just winging it. There they go again. That seems fine. Once we get this on, we're gonna drop the car down. Check for ride height. I don't know if it's been officially set yet. Maybe that's why the collars were loose. I might bring it up a little bit because it is pretty darn low in the front. Great stance, looks wise, but what do you think?
Try not to, it keeps me out of trouble.
There, now if Chad gets done messing around, I think we're back.
Put a little anti-seize on those threads.
Okay.
Now try it. See if they'll go on there.
Did we decide it's right hand?
Yeah.
Man, it really wants to. We spent more time on this cap than taking the whole front end apart. Hey, it's going. Ha. Chad fixed it with a 2-foot hunting knife. There we go.
Chad bestest fixed it.
We got anti-seize from our knees to our eyelids. We're thinking right about here for ride height, but we're gonna jump up and down on the front and roll it back and forth a little bit, just make sure it's settled. I like the little bit of a rake look, and this is actually up a smidge in the front. Gets us about 2 inches from where the bump stops used to be, but those have been deleted. Had to fix the hood latch. This got mangled from me bringing it in this morning. Oh. Boy, it sits low. It's got nice rebound. I think that side's adjusted differently. See how it... Well, I guess they both do that. Now the bushings are shot, those control arms. It did come down a little. All right, lightning whirler cap on, ignition coil back in, that's wired up. I think what we're gonna do is tag team the lightning hoses. Chad's going to grab them. We've got a routing plan, which is come under for the front two, go around the back and hang them for the back two. We've got ceramic boot ones, which worked really good on the burnout rigs, and I got sleeves for them as well. So I'm gonna set up a table probably somewhere over here and make the wires, hand them off to Chad. Chad will plug them in. This is already dialed in and set, so it should just be plopping those in. And I got to run a wire to the starter, then we'll get the case on and go to town and rest. Without the case in, I can actually just stand in here and get work done, which is nice. Lightning hoses are in. That was great teamwork, didn't take that long at all. So running the ceramic boots and also ran the sleeve on here. This is from DEI, just to make absolutely darn sure we don't burn any wires on headers. just tired of having that mess. I need to come in here and put a couple small zip ties just here and there, but that laid out really nice. Laid out really nice back there. Now what we're gonna do is slide the table over here, set the blower on it. Chad's gonna grab that big heavy thing, swing it over to me. I'll be standing in here, and then I can watch him blow his back out. Then he can laugh at me while I blow my back out, and we'll plop it on. Then after that, we can get the hood on, and then we're at the 10-yard line. Everything else is just quick stuff. We already basically did it on the run stand, just got to do it again in the truck. You know, gauges, belts, starter wiring, wire the fans in, relays, rad hoses, headlights, taillights, seat belts, piece of cake. Oh, that's great. My boys gave $20 for this wagon. It's putting in some work. Well, let's make it happening.
When I throw this in the floor, you're not going to throttle me, are you?
Well, just gently throw it.
Oh.
I think we can kind of skirsh it across this, then I can get my arm on it. All right.
That's not near as heavy as I thought.
Well, we can't all be as manly as you.
I'm definitely not manly. I'm just more manly than Donnie.
My arm is stuck.
Well, you got two of them. What are you crying about?
Hey, well, that was easy.
It wasn't bad at all.
All right, blower is on. Boy, a lot of stress just melted away. Getting the rear end done, this front spring in, blower back on, the transmission service. All of the big things are kind of off the checklist. Now it's just piecing all the little stuff together. It is super late at night. I should probably kick Chad out of here. He's got a 2-hour drive tonight. I got about an hour and a half drive tonight, or this morning, or whatever it is. Thank you. Set the fuel, make it happener's on. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a lot of carburetor for a 406.
Yes, it is. What size are these?
I think they were 750s. I looked them up. I remember being
Really?
very surprised. They had to have jetted them down.
Yeah, but it's still 1,500 CFM going through a 406.
Yes. And to think these were on a 305. That's what was in here.
Really?
Yeah.
Why'd it have a 305 in
I
it?
thought it was a 283 or whatever, but it was a 305.
Is that what motor Hot Rod Garage put in there? Is it?
That was it. That was his motor that I got running that was in the truck from Texas.
Oh.
They just bolted a blower to it.
Oh. Oh, so this is originally done on roadworthy,
Yep.
and they got it.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
We have more El Camino. It is pretty darn close. All of the heavy lifting is out of the way. Huge thank you to Chad. I would have been struggling with a lot of this, like setting in the blower and moving around the rear tires, the front suspension, and all that stuff that is just a lot faster with two people in many hands. I am gonna get some sleep though. I'm gonna get a little tired. It is very, very late. Pack a suitcase, show up tomorrow, finish up this truck, throw my backpack in here, a toolbox, and we're gonna hit the road and see if we can make it 400 miles to the show in Virginia. Trial by fire. We really can't just tootle around and do test drives or anything like that. Any driving we do has to be towards the show. So I'm gonna get some sleep. We'll see you guys in the morning. Well, good morning once again. Guy got in a little naparooski. We're back on the El Camino. There is a mile-long list of things that I got to get done. I want to hopefully get all this done here by this afternoon and hit the road. We've got 400 miles to get to Virginia. The show is early tomorrow morning, and I don't want to take a chance leaving, say 3 o'clock in the morning, something happen and not get to the show. So I'd like to get some miles down today. So let's jump right in. Most of it is just wiring. The MSD6A, the fans, we got relays to put in, we got a gauge set to put in, the starter to put in. We'll fire this thing off, heat cycle it again, and double check a few things, fluids, things of that nature, jam this thing on the road. Guy's gonna pop in the battery cable for the starter. This is the old one. You can see it gets hot and tight down there, so we're replacing it with this guy, and I put the same protected sleeve on there as well, pretty much the length of the header. And then I'll use these giant zip ties, and we'll get that fixed up once I get the starter bolted into place. I got the yellow wire down there. Wanted to run a purple, ran out of it, but that'll be our thing that goes when you with the key. Well, the good news is I straightened out the front end and put a different plate on there. The even better news is I messed up big time by not having the starter put in the vehicle when I had my buddy help me bend some pipe for the exhaust system, because the starter is nowhere near even remotely close to fitting. I should have had that starter in there. My friend's about 2 hours from here. I don't think he's gonna get here in time. So I'm gonna have to cut all this exhaust out and try to figure out something on my own, which is going to be ugly. Here's what we got going on. Yeah. You can see how far we gotta go. This pipe, and I don't even know how it's possible, but it needs to be way over here to even be remotely close. So I'm gonna cut it right here. I got to, unfortunately, see if I can cobble something together in there. And bending pipe is not my forte. I'm learning, doing my best to learn, because we do so many exhaust systems. If I could do this on my own, I'd save a tremendous amount. So we'll see what happens. This side is perfectly fine. It's beautiful. But the other side over here, oof. 3 steps forward, 9 steps back. Okay, now you just hang out here, okay? Well, at least that's going right. Okay. Unbolt this. Start with the reducer. Oh man. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. Only got this one stick of 2 1/4, or remnant. Everything else I have is 2 1/2. Back and forth, see if I can work this into something usable. Oh, I need an extra set of hands so bad. But fakers can't be losers. That's what we got here. Oh boy. You only get one shot. Well, I can't. Maybe I tack this first. Can't see nothing. Okay. Now I'll probably take it out and weld it because it's such a difficult spot. And then we'll jam her back in. I'm also gonna crush that just a little bit. Make a little more room for the edge of the starter. Right there. Woo, the starter is gonna get hot. Fire this puppy up, we can't turn it off. There we go. Well, wiring away. Got the battery plugged in. Got two lines on here. One's going to the voltage regulator. One's coming back over to the charging wheeler. Got to find the nut for that. I lost it. Traced the wire to the 6AL. That came over here to a red one. Got that tied in with 12 volt keyed. So when you key it on, the 6A box comes on. We can verify with the green light. That's done. Using this power probe and poking around here, we've got to find the starter relay, which I believe is the purple one in that bundle. And I just found the headlights because the headlight switch isn't working. So I'm tracing that back to the bulkhead connector, see if we can get headlights and taillights, because we are undoubtedly going to have to travel in the night, because since we're getting such a late start today. We got water pump left, fans, and fan relays. So we're slowly getting there, just a bunch of farting around. Well, a little bit of an update, and then we're going to fire this thing up. First of all, the exhaust, I was able to bend a piece up, get that welded all up, installed. It fits. That's going to work, should work just fine. Got all of the electrical wired up, had to extend the posts here, but made a harness over to here. This looks a little bit messy because I've got some extra leads in here, but we've got 2 relays, one for each fan, and another relay for the electric water pump. How I did this was key on will run one fan on low speed. Once the temp sensor reaches temperature, then both fans kick on high speed. Of course, we got a fusible link in line on that. Got the charging boiler hooked up. Starter's working, that's engaged. Had to make a harness back in for the lights, but got low beams to work. Had to do some custom strapping and whatnot, but they're both decent height, will have lights. Jimmied the switch in here, and we do also have tail lights now, so that's good. And got the gauges installed. Those are ready to go, and of course we put those on the dimmer switch as well. So we should have volts, coolant, oil pressure, and boost over here. That's the sticker I put on from Roadworthy Rescues. We visited the Cadillac Ranch and whatnot. Otherwise, nothing else is really changed in here. Got to pick up a few tools here, throw some gasoline in it. The gas that's in it is really, really heavily varnished. And we're going to fire this thing off, add some water, let it get up to temperature. So a reminder, this is only around on the engine stand for 5 minutes. It's now almost 4 o'clock. We've got 400 miles to do today. Great, that seems fine. Well, all of the work comes down to this. I think it is time to fire this thing off. I went through a mental checklist in my head. If we have anything go wrong, it's going to be probably leaking fluids. I spent a lot of time routing wires and protecting everything just so I don't have to deal with that on the side of the road. Timing hasn't moved since we pulled it out of the run stand. Carb bowls are full from the run stand. Should be able to pump this thing, and if everything is wired and dialed, should light right off. Now, the one huge question we still have is the transmission. Now, when I revived this down in Texas, it did go down the road. I drove it to Cadillac Ranch. But I don't remember if it was like downshifting or how good the shifts were. We found quite a bit of material in the pan. I don't think we're gonna get to hot rod it, unfortunately. Right now, this minute, we just gotta ease to Virginia if this fires off. Let's give it a shot. Oh, please work. Keyage confirmed. Park check, good pump. Yes. There we go. 75 pounds oil pressure. Charging. Just check for leaks. We'll fire it again, and we're going to try the transmission. Well, the guy's got a little gas jug, a backpack. I gotta throw my toolbox in and a cooler. And I think we'll just hit the road, right? I gotta jump over the air jack here. The tires are so wide. That's our first obstacle. And then we'll jam it on the highway. Well, the guy found a gas station. We got about 35 miles on it. It's shifting. We got all the gears. Of course, it rides terrible, steers terrible, but it's going down the road. I think the biggest issue today is keeping myself and this thing from overheating. Even my old square body this morning was way hotter than it typically was. It's like 105, maybe even hotter. We're under a heat warning or advisory or whatever it is. There's old rigs going down left and right. So that'll be interesting. Right now it came all the way here under 200. So that's good, but I don't know what it's gonna wanna do when we try to crawl this up towards 60, 65 after a while. But let's start making our way. 400 miles is going to take a long time at this pace, but it's on the road. Once again, it's been a couple years since I've had it on the road in its other configuration. And now the 406 that we threw together seems to be doing just fine. Let's hit it. It's so hot. I gotta pull off. It's not shifting anymore. Well, I don't know. I thought maybe the vacuum line came off the modulator. I slowed down quick, pulled over. My cooler was sliding to the back of the bed, so I wedged that up against the glass again. Got back on the interstate. It did a 1-2 shift, which sounded really weird, and then it wouldn't shift to third. Just nothing. Slowed down, tried to manually shift it, nothing. Vacuum line's hooked up, and it's full on fluid. It's actually overfull. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. But this is a pretty familiar sight. You know, side of the road with a questionable vehicle and a to-do list that's not done. Written on it. Runs great though. Well, there's not much I could do on the side of the road here. I think, unfortunately, this transmission is gone. And I knew from the jump that was going to be the risk. I mean, the engine's obviously new, the rear end's new, pretty much everything driveline-wise except this shift machine. And you know what they say, never change the fluid on them when they're old. That's just a wives' tale. But this time it bit us good. The show I'm going to, I've got to get there. It's actually Michael Waltrip's car show at Michael Waltrip Brewing, and I want to take you guys as well. So I think I'm gonna limp this home on the back roads, and I wanted to take something wild there because, you know, Michael Waltrip, he likes fast cars and whatnot. What if we climb back into that modified and see if we could drive that another 400 miles to Bristol, Virginia. This was a terrible idea. That's an even more terrible-lurist idea. So let's crawl this back to the shop, grab a jump box, go check the fluids on that. I walked away from that thing after getting it home and said, nope, never again. Well, never again is here. So let's head out there. All I got's first gear. That's it. Boy, it's gonna be a long drive back home. We're gonna be getting in really late tonight, I'll tell you that much. Hey, remember how the modified only has front brakes? Yeah, I didn't remember that I needed to remember until now, when I remembered that. So I'm definitely not going to do that again. I have to fix the brake situation. It's got a dead battery. There's some other issues with it. We're out of time. We got to hit the road. But listen, we've won already. We just don't want to fail getting to the show. The El Camino runs and drives. It did the thing. It runs fantastic. It just needs a transmission now. So we'll boop, pin that up. But I got an idea. Been walking around the galaxy for quite a while. That's got 5 gears and headlights. I think we can make up some ground quickly in that car. So let's throw a hot lightning cube in that thing. See if we can get that fired up. Boy, we're all over the place. But either and or, we're going to put some miles down. So the 500 has changed a little bit. My buddy did a scratch and shoot on this for me, fixed all the rust and everything on it, and it looks pretty darn good. It's a very solid 20-footer. Needs to be cleaned up, obviously. Engine hasn't changed whatsoever. I just dropped in a battery that we were using on the run stand. If I remember right, this is our headlights, I think. Oh, key's not on, but I'm pretty sure that's the deal with that. The big pain in the butt with this is the fuel cell is in the trunk and you got to unlock it and then lift it off the pins. But look at this. We've put the race quip seats in here out of the money borrow. We've borrowed them back. So no more bus seat and weird stuff like this. I can actually fit in this thing, and it's got that TKX 5-speed. Or no, this is the S10 5-speed, excuse me. We should be able to clip at a pretty good rate with this. So I've got my luggage in here, my backpack. Just got to put a little bit of fuel in. We'll fire this up and hit the road. Well, the guy's all fueled up. We're buzzing down the interstate. Here's the reality of it. I did the math. We actually lose an hour going east too. We're gonna get in. If we don't stop and eat, which I haven't eaten all day, we're gonna get in about 3 in the morning. Which I'm not opposed to doing that. We put down miles, but that only gives us a couple hours sleep before we get up for the show. So we're gonna really try to crank on it tonight. And hopefully we don't have any issues. I did throw the tools in here. Running great so far. Gets about 15 miles to the gallon, I think, if I remember right. So we'll stop at about 150 miles. keep wanting to call the Fairlane a Galaxy for some reason. Anyway, the Galaxy Lane, the Ferrix, I don't know what it is. It's running really good. 14.6 miles to the gallon, 190 degrees, hasn't burned a drop of oil. I don't have blinkers or brake lights, but you know, that's pretty normal. Just topped it off, gonna get something to drink. We'll keep on rocking. Got a thunderstorm brewing ahead of us. Hopefully we can keep her to the mat, get around that, because we don't got wiper arms. And it would only make sense it would rain though. The last 6 road trips we've done, it's rained. Ain't got no wipers. Okay, got my supper and some sheet metal. I gotta fix the hole around the shifter boot. Last time we cruised this, the heat coming in saved my life. And now it's making me woozy. It is so hot. It's like 119 Satan out here. So I gotta patch the floor quick. Ah, I need goggles for welding. Yep, that'll help. Well, good morning. What a beautiful day already here in Bristol. Got in late last night. Well, technically this morning. It's 3 or 3:30. Caught a nap, and right out my window, we got a big old car show going on. Typically around 500 cars here. I think they're expecting a lot more. There's 25 categories, a grand prize, all sorts of stuff, plus the Vice Grip Garage Trophy. So we've got to walk around, and I got to pick a rig out. I already see a really nice Monte Carlo over here. Looks like Survivor paint and stuff like that. I gotta find my car, wherever that got parked. We should probably dump some water on it, and then we'll go get posted up as well. There's a lot to do today. But we made it. We have officially made it. That's the third car, but we made it. Wow, what a great turnout. There's all sorts of cars. I'm not really sure how car shows work, what you're supposed to do. But I did notice, looking around, there's a lot of folks wiping their cars down and shining stuff. So I found a self-spray car wash. I guess we'll dump some water on this. It is really dirty. It hasn't been washed in, well, ever. Maybe I'll run a vacuum through it. There's one down there for 75 cents. I got $3.25 off the floor and a couple dimes. Then we'll head back, park this thing up. I gotta get a different shirt on. Black is a wrong choice. It's gotta be 109 today, minimum. But anywho's, let me spray this down. One thing I forgot to show you was the hood. The old hood on this, the webbing underneath was completely rotted. So I just switched it to a GT hood and then figured out how much the GT emblems were and the stainless that goes back here, and did not purchase those. Someday. But we got a nice GT hood on it now instead of that rotted, bent up one. And got rid of the hood pins, actually got a hood latching assembly, got the hood springs working and all of that. So that's pretty nice. Well, it's late in the afternoon. The guy's finally getting an opportunity to walk around and look at these cars. I've heard incredible things about this show. Met I don't know how many hundreds of people up here at Michael Waltrip's Brewing behind me. That was a lot of fun. Got the Fairlane posted up there showing off the tractor paint, you know. And had to grab me a new shirt. I had done sweat through my black tee quickly. I got this guy on here. This is a collab shirt with Michael Waltrip. It's got vice grip on the back, Michael Waltrip Brewing, Camaro, and an old truck. If you want to take a look at one of these, you can go to vicegripgarage.com. And it's a limited run, so once they're gone, they're gone. But we're gonna walk around. I have to find the Vice Grip Garage pick, and I think there's 24 other categories, and they have a grand prize of $1,000 this year. I think this is the 4th annual?
4th annual.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
so it's growing quick. There is, wow, we're just in the first lot. So let's go look at some stuff. Look at this hot rod. Was it Zach?
Yep.
Yeah, Zach's 15. He's the one that tore this car apart and put her back together for the show. Man, he's got the black wheels. He did put the white letters in, but that's okay. We'll let that slide. What a hot rod.
You know, for Jack Crash running into that.
everyone, Michael Waltrip here. Derek from Vice Grip Garage is with me. Derek's been a good sport today, having a lot of fun. We're all enjoying this show.
All right, best of show. Brian Bourne, 1972 C10. This truck's on an aftermarket chassis, LSA, beautiful.
Well, the dust is settled. Vehicles are rolling out. I went and grabbed a bite to eat really quick because I got to hit the road myself. What a tremendous show. This is a gem of the South. Fourth year here, this place was packed. They fit like 750 cars, I guess, today, and then we ran out of room and I had to start turning some folks away, but what an incredible show. Check this place out if you haven't next year. It's the Bristol Sunshine Festival. And huge thank you to Michael Waltrip Brewing, who's kind of set up in the middle here as the host. And also Motor Mile Motors, they're a big part of organizing this event and help with judging and just putting on the whole thing. I guess they're a diesel dealership, but they also do some really radical builds. We were walking around and he's like, built and sold that car, built and sold that car, built and sold this. And everything from Model A's to Gremlins to pickups. Pretty awesome, actually. So speaking of awards, that's the Best of Show guy there. The Vice Grip Garage Award. I gave that away to the 1971 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. I actually bumped into him right out of the motel and came back around and saw him again. And just a nice little family. They brought their daughter out with them. They traveled to get here. The car is a work in progress. It needs a ton of work, but they shine juiced it up. They had the white letter tires. They had the homemade center console and some boom booms in there. And I just loved it. They're involving their kid. They're having fun. They're going to the show. And that's what this is about. We've got to get the next generation involved. We got to show people it doesn't have to be shiny and the best of the best to come out to these events. And they kind of embodied all of that. So congratulations to Justin and his family. They got the Vice Grip Garage Award. Well, that is it for this trip. I wish we could have brought the El Camino. We lost the transmission, but that's no big deal. We'll try to figure out how to get that back together. Still a victory that runs, it drives. We got to scoot it around a little bit. Got to stretch the legs in the Fairlane again. Got to go to a car show. What an awesome time. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you all so very much. And we'll see you very soon. And just a reminder, if you're not subscribed to the channel, it's free. No obligation. Just hit the button. And you'll get notifications when new episodes come out. Thanks again. See you soon. I got to get back home. 400 miles the other way. And that beauty.